We would now start regular press conference by Minister Iwaya. The Minister, the floor is yours. Thank you for joining. At the onset, I have 2 points I would like to mention first. This is about the G20 Foreign Ministerial meeting held. From February 20th to the 21st, I visited South Africa and I attended my first G20 Foreign Ministerial meeting. In order to restore international order based on rule of law and lead international community to cooperation, the coordination and cooperation with each country is important. Under this idea, I communicated about situation in Ukraine and Middle East, as well as bearing in mind of TICAD 9 to be held in August this year. I communicated about the importance of cooperation with African countries, as well as confirming the coordination of global South countries.
The second point is about the visit of a Foreign Minister of Poland. From the 26th of February through the 2nd of March, Foreign Minister Sikorski of Poland will be visiting Japan as a guest of MOFA. I will hold on the 28th with Minister Sikorski a Foreign Ministers meeting as well as a working dinner. Poland is an important strategic partner which has a history of exchange with Japan for more than 100 years. With Foreign Minister Sikorski, I would like to deepen collaboration towards further strengthening of the bilateral relations and have firm exchange of views about the international situation, including Ukraine. That's all for me at the outset. Thank you.
If you have a question, please raise your hand. If you are designated, please proceed to the nearest microphone and ask question after identifying your name and affiliation. Yomiuri Uemura-san, please. Yomiuri newspaper, Uemura. Hello. Last night, there was online G7 summit meeting. My question is about that. Since the inauguration of the U.S. Trump administration, the Ukraine situation has a possibility to make the movement drastically. And what is the significance of the discussion at this timing? On February 24th, there was the video conference of G7 where Prime Minister Ishiba attended. Since the start of the Russian aggression of Ukraine, taking the opportunity of the third year, the meeting was held. And as you know, at the onset, President Zelensky of Ukraine also attended. In this meeting, Prime Minister Ishiba emphasized the following 4 points. First point, since the start of the aggression started 3 years ago, he pays sincere respect to the courage of Ukrainian people that fight against Russia, so that the situation make a breakthrough after bearing fruit of diplomatic effort underway by the U.S. And the second, so that a wrong message cannot be drawn in realizing peace, the Prime Minister Ishiba wants to take action in coordination with the G7 countries. And third point, the security of Europe and Indo-Pacific is becoming even more inseparable, and he strongly condemned the development of military cooperation between Russia and North Korea, including the participation of North Korean forces in the fighting. Fourth, in order to realize just and perpetual peace in Ukraine, G7 unity is important. And Japan, while coordinating with the G7 countries, Japan will continue support to Ukraine as well as sanction against Russia. Those 4 points were emphasized by Prime Minister Ishiba in the summit meeting, so that peace can be brought back to Ukraine as early as possible. Candid discussion took place among G7 leaders and was able to confirm unity of G7 members. But it's over 3 years since the Russian aggression. For various peace, related actions started to unfold by various countries. So taking this opportunity, the fact that the G7 summit meeting was held is quite a timely event.
The next question, please. Sakaguchi-san of Kyodo News. Sakaguchi of Kyodo News. I have a follow-up question. Prime Minister Ishiba confirmed or called for the unity of the G7 as Your Excellency just mentioned. In regards to the joint statement, this is taking time for coordination and it's not issued yet. So it seems that G7 is not exactly in lockstep. So the importance of the unity of the G7 is there. What is your reaction and assessment about the current struggling situation for the coordination? Also, there will be a G7 foreign ministers meeting in March as well as a G7 summit meeting in June, and Japan is the only Asian member country. And how are you going to urge other countries? Also, a minister and a prime minister, you have been using this term of a wrong lesson. And apart from Russia, there is North Korea, which is continuing nuclear and missile development, as well as China, which is continuing military coercion in peripheral waters. And Japan is surrounded by these countries. What is the importance of this message to other countries? Well, thank you. In regards to the joint statement, currently coordination is underway. And the G7 delivering a joint statement is critical in this phase. So Japan has been making efforts and would like to continue its efforts to this end firmly. And in regards to urging other countries going forward, in March, as you know, a G7 foreign ministers meeting will be held. Also in June, G7 Kananaskis summit meeting will be held. And of course, prior to these meetings, there will be exchanges with various relevant countries. So through such diplomatic opportunities, I'd like to make a firm communication. And Prime Minister Ishiba attended the G20 video conference and he emphasized the ideas, and these ideas should be fully reflected. And to this end, at all levels, Japan would like to continue to call for such actions. And you pointed out a wrong lesson should not be drawn. And a unilateral attempts to change the status quo by force is not acceptable or tolerated anywhere in the world, needless to say, and this is the thinking of Japan. So such a wrong lesson, if it is drawn, then there will be an impact on the Indo-Pacific region. You cannot deny such a possibility, so there will be negative impact in various parts of the world. To avoid such a situation and such a thinking, we'd like to coordinate views with countries. Thank you.
Next question, Yunitsu-san, please. NHK Yunitsu. Related to Ukraine, I have a question. At the UN General Assembly meeting, the Ukraine and EU submitted the resolution, draft resolution calling on stopping of fighting and withdrawal of Russia, and 93 countries voted for, including Japan, and was adopted. However, US opposed. So the gap of position among Europe and the US is becoming clear. And how do you respond to this situation? As you pointed out, a local time on February 24th at the UN General Assembly Emergency Special Meeting, the General Assembly resolution on peace of Ukraine submitted by Ukraine and EU was adopted with a majority supporting, including Japan. This resolution include the following points. As a UNGA, immediately stop the hostile activity from Russian forces to Ukraine and immediate stop of attack to civilians and facilities, and as well as calling on peace in Ukraine based on UN Charter. That is why Japan supported this. And there is the rift between the US and Europe, but this now is not the time for confrontation. The diplomatic efforts by each country, including US and Europe, should converge, and the international community should be united so that it will lead to the end of the long-lasting war, and furthermore, perpetual and long-lasting and just peace will be realized in Ukraine. That is our ultimate goal. So as Japan, we want to communicate with both Europe and the US, so not the division and confrontation, but through coordination, so that the peace can be realized in the Ukraine. Japan would like to approach those countries.
Kim-san of Mainichi Shimbun newspaper, please. Kim of Mainichi Shimbun newspaper. In regards to peace in Ukraine, I have a question. President Zelensky in peace talks demanded the security guarantees, and the UK and France are considering to send peacekeeping troops to Ukraine to realize security guarantees. How is Japan going to be involved, engaged? What can Japan do, please? Well, thank you. I'm aware of the media reports. In regards to Ukraine, currently there are various discussions taking place in the international community. So needless to say, the government of Japan maintains great interest and has been gathering information. And first and foremost, it is most important that the ceasefire is realized. That this is the top priority. And what sort of a peace should be realized, and security guarantees of Ukraine after the war. These are the most important focal points. So how to build such a framework will be discussed amongst relevant countries going forward, in my view. So what should happen after the ceasefire cannot be commented by the government of Japan at this point in time. In any case, Japan will be fully engaged in the reconstruction and recovery of Ukraine going forward, and Japan will play the role to be played by us. Thank you.
Next, Kyodo News, Sakaguchi-san, please. Kyodo News, Sakaguchi. On different note, general election in Germany is my question. On 23rd, of vote were counted, and opposition CDU, CSU became a first party, and since 2021, the return of power was ensured. And how do you build a relationship with the new government? And far right, AfD, made progress, and in each country, various countries in Europe, so-called far-right parties are making advancement. And in Japan also there are certain remarks, xenophobic type of remarks becoming apparent in Japan. And what is your take as foreign minister? As you pointed out, on February 23rd, general election in Germany took place. And according to the provisional official information announced by the German Election Committee, CDU, CSU became the number one party, and after the coalition negotiation, new government is going to be inaugurated. This is the domestic political matter of other countries, so I will not give comment in detail, but at any rate, Japan and Germany are the significant partner that share value and principle. And in order to maintain and enhance international order, which is free and open based on the rule of law within the bilateral relations as well as in the framework of G7, we have been closely coordinating. So with the new government, in wide areas, we would like to continue to enhance Japan-German relations. So as to other countries' political situation, I would like to refrain from commenting, but looking at the world, there is a movement toward division and confrontation, but through the diplomatic efforts, we want to shift to coordination and amity. That is the goal of the Japanese diplomacy. But at the same time, in Japan, we should not have the division and confrontation, but for the coordination and the harmony we should move toward. So in Japan, ruling and opposition parties should realize the politics based on thorough consideration. That's important.
Anything else? Okay, that's all today's press conference. Thank you very much.